You know, for years, we've all heard the same thing. Bitcoin is digital gold, a safe place to park value. But what if that was just chapter one? What we're going to talk about today is a massive shift happening right on Bitcoin's main network, a change that's turning it from just a vault into this incredible, permanent digital canvas.
So, let's kick things off with a big question. What if every tiny piece of a Bitcoin wasn't just, interchangeable money? What if you could make each one totally unique? What if one of those tiny fractions could hold a piece of art, a document, or even code forever? This one idea is an absolute game changer.
To get how this is even possible, we need to think small. I mean, really small. That number you're seeing, 100 million, that's how many Satoshis, or sats, are in just one Bitcoin. This is the bedrock, the fundamental unit we're talking about today. It's like the individual grain of digital sand that suddenly become a building block for almost anything.
All right, so let's dive into this new frontier. We're officially moving past that simple digital gold story and into a way more creative and dynamic world that's being built right on top of Bitcoin's super secure foundation.
And here's the most important part to get. Bitcoin isn't just for sending money anymore. It's actually becoming a foundational layer for storing data. But the real kicker? This isn't happening on some side project or a less secure network. Nope. This whole evolution is happening directly on Bitcoin's mainnet, inheriting all of that legendary security we always talk about.
So how in the world does this actually work? Well, the first key piece of tech we got to understand is called Ordinals. This is the protocol that lets us zoom all the way in on a single one of those Satoshis and give it a totally unique identity.
At the heart of all this is something called ordinal theory. And the idea itself, it's honestly beautiful in its simplicity. Just imagine if every single grain of sand on the beach had a unique serial number stamped on it based on the exact moment it was created. That's basically what ordinal theory does for Satoshis. It gives us a system to track every single one, to identify it, and because of that, to make it non-fungible.
And the process? It's super simple. First, the theory gives every single sat its own unique number. Then comes the magic part, inscription. This is where you can permanently attach data. We're talking an image, a PDF, a piece of software, directly onto that one single numbered Satoshi. It's literally like a digital engraving that can never be erased.
Now this right here shows you the massive difference between ordinals and the NFTs that most of us know from other chains. A lot of those NFTs are basically just a link. They point to a file that's stored somewhere else, a server, IPFS, and that link can break, or the file can be changed or just disappear. With ordinals, the actual data, the art itself, the text, the whole thing is inscribed directly onto the Bitcoin blockchain. It lives there, immutably, forever.
Okay, so ordinals are for making unique, one-of-a-kind digital artifacts. Awesome. But what if you want to create tokens that are all the same? Like a currency. Well, that's where the next evolution, called runes, comes in. If ordinals are for making digital art, runes are for making digital cash.
Now, to understand why runes are so darn efficient, we have to look under the hood at a core part of Bitcoin's design, the UTXO model. The best way to think about it is like physical cash in your wallet, right? Your wallet doesn't just say $27. It holds specific bills and coins, a 20, a 5, and some change. In the Bitcoin world, each of those individual pieces is a UTXO.
And this is why runes are such a genius solution. They're designed to work with Bitcoin's native system, not fight against it. They use this tiny, super efficient bit of data in a transaction. It's like a little digital memo space called OP return to manage all the token info. This avoids creating a ton of network junk, which makes creating and trading tokens on Bitcoin incredibly clean and solves all the congestion problems that earlier attempts ran into.
So now we've got these two really powerful tools. And what's wild is that they were both created by the same developer, Casey Rodarmor, but they're designed for completely opposite things. So let's put them side by side and really see the difference.
This table just breaks it down perfectly. Let's look at the first row, asset type. It's simple. Ordinals are non-fungible. Think a one-of-a-kind painting. Runes are fungible, like a dollar bill, where any one is as good as another. Next, data location. Ordinals tuck their data away in what's called the transaction witness, which is kind of like the expandable cargo hold of a transaction. Runes, on the other hand, use that tiny, efficient OP return memo space we just talked about. Then you have identification. Ordinals are tied to one specific Satoshi, but runes are identified by the total balance in a transaction, that UTXO we covered. And all this leads to their primary use. Ordinals are perfect for digital art, collectibles, and secure documents, while runes are tailor-made for things like meme coins or governance tokens.
So the main takeaway here is really simple. Ordinals are for carving out unique, one-of-a-kind items. Runes are for minting uniform, interchangeable currencies. They're two different tools for two very different jobs. But the most important thing is they both operate on Bitcoin's ultra-secure base layer.
All right, let's zoom back out and look at the big picture again. What does all of this really mean for the future of Bitcoin? Honestly, it's nothing short of a paradigm shift. This is why this stuff really matters. Bitcoin isn't just a vault for digital gold anymore. It's becoming the planet's most secure and permanent layer for settling data. Any asset you create on it, whether it's an ordinal or a rune, automatically gets the unmatched security of the entire Bitcoin network. This is true digital sovereignty. There's no company, no central party that can just decide to delete your digital property. We are literally watching new economies get built from the ground up. Think about a musician who can inscribe a limited edition of 100 albums directly on-chain, a collectible that can't be faked or deleted, while an associated rune token could handle fan voting or royalties. It's a whole new world. And this quote just perfectly captures the spirit of it all. If Bitcoin exists, your art will exist. That level of permanence is something we have just never seen before. As long as the Bitcoin network is running, and it's been running nonstop for over a decade now, your inscribed assets will be there. Period. And so that leaves us with one final and kind of thrilling question. We've established that Bitcoin is now the ultimate foundation for any kind of digital property. The tools are here, the canvas is ready. So what are we, as a global community of builders and artists and thinkers, what are we going to build on it next?